Hi, everyone, and welcome to another great car here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.ca. People following the website from the beginning might recognize this one. This car was the subject of the first auction we ever ran back in the spring of 2021. We did not get it sold, and it was a learning experience. Uh, a few things have changed since. We like to think we're a little bit better at running the website. Definite learning curve on that first item. I don't think there's any debating that. But a couple of things that haven't changed are the owner of this car, about how many miles it's driven. It hasn't been driven much since that first auction, and that same seller has been loyal to us throughout. We've been loyal back. We service a couple of our cars at his licensed shop. But another thing that hasn't changed is our goal of being maybe not the biggest, but the best online collector car auction platform with buy it now items in Canada. And we feel we are realizing that goal on many fronts. In any event, enough corporate propaganda. Onto the car as I set the handbrake. This one is a 1969 Volkswagen Beetle 4-speed manual. You can see it presents very nicely. Certainly, this owner got the tires shined up for us. But this one was subject to an exhaustive restoration between, say, 2015, 2020. We do have both documentation for the resto as well as photos of the work in process on the detailed listing. This one is lot 317 on collectorcarcanada.ca. So this is finished in a pale blue, refinished, of course. It's a very good tribute to the 1969 Volkswagen Beetle color of chrome blue, black interior. It's got a 1500cc flat four engine, carbureted, and a 4-speed manual transmission, getting the power such as it is to the rear wheels. Have a look at our detailed listing, please, for horsepower ratings. Another neat touch, those who've seen our videos before know I really like these vent windows in the 60s and early 70s cars, and I suppose earlier. A nice touch to get some air flowing through the cabin on a hot summer day. And here we are. I'd call it Indian summer. It is October, perhaps, but we continue to enjoy beautiful weather here in southern Ontario and throughout Canada, it seems. And this car, I'll mention it, is offered in the east end of Toronto. We are currently in the borough of Scarborough on the east side of Toronto to shoot the video. Again, it's lot 317 on collectorcarcanada.ca. The 1969 Volkswagen Beetle 4-speed manual. A couple neat things about the 69. It's the first year for Beetle to have independent rear suspension, IRS for short. To give you a sense of that, the neat thing about that I'm always blown away by is Mustangs. We sell more Mustangs than we do Beetles on the website, but Mustang didn't have independent rear suspension across the whole line of Mustang until the S550 in 2015. So there are a few things that I would suggest put these German Beetles ahead of their time back in 69. Certainly that's one of them. Another first in 1969 is the remote fuel release. It's not that remote. It's over on the passenger side and it's a cable, but you need to release that to open the fuel door. We've got photos of it open and closed, as well as the fuel cap on the detailed listing for lot 317. And there are a couple of lasts for the Beetle in 69 as well. One of them is these high headrests. You can't see them right now, but we'll get a good look when we do the interior portion of the video, as well as the teardrop shaped indicators up front on those front fenders. Again, we'll get a good look at those when there's someone with a 72 Skylark rolling by. I hope you heard his exhaust. He was just waving because that's what old car people do with each other, whether a domestic, German, or even the Asian or other Europeans. Pretty neat to feel that sense of camaraderie, I always think. In any event, got blown away talking about the hobby and how much fun we have with it. Uh, so, yeah, the teardrop shaped front indicators were last used as you see them here in 1969. So I'm going to start the car now That's why I was setting that handbrake earlier. I better make sure we're in neutral, because this period of car, of course, you can start the car, a manual transmission car, without the clutch down. Just make sure it's in neutral or you're going to jump forward, all you newbies who've only driven manual transmission cars from, say, 1995 forward. Maybe a little earlier than that. Anyway, lot 317, Volkswagen Beetle, 4-speed manual, model year 1969. Here comes the start. All right, it started right up. Can't claim to be a cold start, as you might have guessed. The car did not spend the night where we're sitting right now. We do have a start idle exhaust video on the detailed listing. Again, it's not a perfectly cold start. I'll call it a cool start, but you can see that on lot 317's detailed listing. And I think it's time now that I jump out of the car and we'll get a closer look and listen to the engine and exhaust at idle. So for the uninitiated of these original Beetles, very much unlike the new Beetle, it started around 1999 or 2000, a front-wheel drive car that was based on the Golf platform. This one's very different. As you see, I've got the compartment in the rear open because that's where the engine is. It's also a rear drive car, as I think I might have mentioned in the intro. So I've got a separate microphone here in my other hand. Let's get in close to that engine and take a good listen. All right, sounds pretty good at idle. That inimitable flat 4 boxer air-cooled sound. So I'll zoom in now to the exhaust. We'll get a good listen to what's coming out of those twin pea shooter pipes. Okay, I think we got a good listen to it, but while the engine covers up, I'm gonna cut the engine, as I say, but let's take a little bit more of a tour of the engine. I want to get up close so you can see how clean it is and why it was running so nicely. So good close-up look at these pulleys and the teeth on the belt and the outside of the belt. There's the distributor and wires, of course, for them. Up here for carb and air filter. So yeah, all in all, a pretty clean engine compartment. Well, Phil, and I'll say the same for the underside of the cover, as you can see here. So do take a look. I'm just thinking of the paint now. Do take a look at that detailed listing of ours, please, and you'll see the exhaustive restoration in process there. You get a feel for how comprehensive the job was and why this car is in such fine condition. All right, I'm going to cut the video now and then we'll move to the exterior portion of the tour. All right, so on to the exterior. As I was suggesting in the opening, I'm just going to call the paint shade a pale blue, but I think it's fair to say that it's a very good imitation, almost a match for the original chrome blue color from 1969 Beetles. You can see they're not original caps, but I'm going to call them original style caps, the chrome domes. and then they partially cover the black painted steel wheels. I'll get in a little closer to those and the tires in a minute here, and we can see through those openings, the venting to the brakes below. But up front here, the car has not done many miles at all since the paint was applied. So I don't even see any stone chips on this front end. I mostly the only imperfections I see are dust, and that's attributable to the car being stored in a heated facility at the owner's shop here in the east end of Toronto, being in Scarborough. But even that chrome, quite good. I don't see any pitting on the chrome at all, just some watermarks and a bit of dust. I'll say the same for the handle here for the front storage cover. We'll take a look at that too when we get onto the next segment of the video. And I'll also show off this pretty cool VW emblem here towards the cowl. And then here are these teardrop shaped indicator lights I mentioned in the opening. Again, last year for those was this 1969 model year. So getting in close, I'm trying to avoid my shadow being in the shot here. Beautiful sunny day here in the eastern end of Toronto. So we've got a set of drum brakes all around on the 1969 Beetle. And we've got a set of, I'm going to call them NOS tires. I see steel belted metric radial, and the size is 165 R15 with an S speed rating. So most of us are used to three numbers in that sizing. Back in, I guess, pre 75, I have a 1973 model year car, and the original tires were this syntax of numbers. So basically you go by the width of the rim. We've got that information on the detailed listing. So it's 165 in width with the 15-inch diameter wheel. But there's a good close-up of the wheel. So a steel wheel painted in black with the chrome cover. Again, the paint over on this side of the car looking very good, including on this, I'll call it a running board. There's a look at one of the vent windows up close. So this is how you operate it, lock it when you're in the inside. Only one side mirror on this 1969 VW Beetle 4-speed manual. So chrome capped. There is a little bit of, I don't know if it's pitting or imperfection or what, but it's not quite as nice as the bumper. Wanted to show you that. We had some photos of the roof on the detailed listing for lot 317, but there's a look at it. I didn't see any paint imperfections up there. And when I was walking around the car, I saw that most of the panes have the VW emblem. We took some pictures of those, put them on that detailed listing, lot 317. Here's a look at the driver's rear wheel and tire. So matching set of tires at all fours, 165 R15 with the S speed rating. This wheel showing some imperfection. Some of that black paint on the steel is chipped off there, but the chrome cover looks very good. And those weights look fresh too, indicating a recent balance. I haven't said until now, as you might expect for a fella who owns his own service facility, this car is being sold with an Ontario Safety Standard Certificate. So very important if you're in Ontario, certainly, because you need that to transfer the ownership. But I think for out of province buyers, it's also a good indicator of the condition of the car. Those out of province buyers, if they're curious, they'd be well served to take a look at our Service Ontario website. You get a sense of what needs to be complied with to get that Ontario Safety Standard Certificate. I might add that the checklist has not changed, but over the past year or so, the regulation and enforceability has changed and the monitoring has changed to the point where there's even the ability by the Ministry of Transport to monitor the inspection as it goes on in real-time video. So no more back of the napkin Ontario Safety Standard Certificates, I'll call them. Here's a good look at the tricolor tail lights. I'm going to look into this. I don't know if 1969 had the ambers in the rear in North American market. So take a look at our detailed listing, lot 317, for that information. But certainly they would have had the white lens for reverse. And you can see I called them by their slang name already, those pea shooter exhaust pipes, do twin pipes, which is kind of neat for a 1.5 liter engine, flat floor, and a neat Volkswagen emblem here, as people who've been around Beetles are accustomed to seeing. You can see there's some venting there, being a rear engine car. And I'm not sure if you can see it. The glass is a little dusty, as I say, but I can see the lines for the defroster. Good look at the shaded side of the car. We're pretty close to a few other cars. I love it when we get a parking lot all to ourselves, but prepare to see some other cars in the background here. So working around to the shaded side of the car, here's a good look at the passenger side tire and rim. This rim looks better than the last one we looked at. The black paint looks even and complete. And again, the 165 R15 tire with the S speed rating. I'll give you a look at the tread on these. No trouble at all for tread. Those tires would have been installed new during the restoration process I mentioned earlier. So working our way, I didn't zoom right in on the driver's side door handle, but it's as good as this one. No pitting that I can see on that. And here's a look at the vent window here on the driver's side. And moving forward to the fuel door, I already mentioned the remote release. I'll try to remember to show that to you when we're on the interior of the car. But it's closed right now, locked, as you see. Can't open that. There's that VW emblem I like so much I showed you earlier. And a good set of black wiper arms and blades, and I even see the Bosch name on the wiper blade, so that'd be a nice authentic original touch. Exterior door hinges also look good, nice even paint. And then the last rim and tire to look at. As I say, a matching set of tires at all four, and this black painted steel wheel looking pretty sharp, as is the chrome cover for it. There's a look at the tread on this tire. I've got a stabilizer on the camera, so sometimes I don't like it when or it doesn't like it when I go for an angle that is counterintuitive to that programmed intelligence in the stabilizer. There's a good look at the, as I say, what I'll call a running board over here. Not quite sure what the proper Volkswagen term is for that. Here's a jack point. Didn't mention it on the other side, but you see its twin over on the other side. And we're back to the front of the car. Another good look at those teardrop shaped indicators. Final year for as 1969. So a good look at the front end of the car. So that'll do it for the exterior portion of the tour. Let's move on to the cabin. We're beside a pretty big sports field here, so if you hear an engine running, it's not the Beetle's engine, it's that fantastic Toro lawnmower whose driver is doing quite a capable job of maneuvering inside the soccer net. I suppose Europeans following this European car might call it a football net. I guess I'm showing my Canadian roots. In any event, back to the tour here. I just wanted to show you that in case you're wondering about the background sound. Didn't get that steering wheel perfectly straight. Keys in it, I'm able to move it. So, black vinyl interior. One thing I did notice is that the seat bottom for the driver is different from the rest of the vinyl seat coverings. So I'm gathering that's been replaced. It's a nice replacement, very good condition, but it does not match. So I'm also thinking it's not original. Good look at the driver's door card. An interesting thing for me for a 1969 car is there's even a little map pocket here. But otherwise the basics with the crank window, manual locks, and of course the vent window, which as I say is a nice touch. Steering wheel and instrumentation. So chrome blue for the interior paint around that speedometer. But as you see, the only gauge is a speedometer, maxing out at 90 miles an hour. And the odometer incorporated within, it reads under under 39,000 miles, but we're going to be promoting this car as a true mileage unknown car. We can't document that since new. And then above the odometer, right below the 50 on the speedometer, is the fuel gauge. There's the keyhole. Reminds me very much of one for a Porsche 914. I'm thinking that ignition and steering column is exactly the same. But that blue paint in the chrome blue, so a match to the exterior. There are a couple of blanks here. We've covered them, but one is a windshield wiper switch, which has been ordered and will be installed before the next owner gets this car. As I say, it's being sold with an Ontario Safety Standard certificate, so that takes care of the windshield wiper certainly. And I believe the other just needs a grommet. It's a blank. But a light switch there, 4 ways, and then the not sure what that is. Here, we take a close look at it. Emergency, and then another one down there. So glove box here, very cool wood look door to it with a handle above. I'm not going to open the glove box now because there are some personal items in it, including a new oil filter, a Bosch branded oil filter that'll go with the car. But there are photos of the glove box open up in the detailed listing. There's a 12 volt decal, but of course by 1969, cars had been converted over to 12 volts for certainly over 10 years. Neat look at the pedals, these older style pedals, much like I was talking about a Porsche 914 and the 911s from the era also. The arms for the pedals come up from below as opposed to down from above. So that's a kind of a neat period piece. And you can see a little storage cubby with a cup holder there. That's just sitting there. And as I move it, it is plastic despite the metal appearance, painted plastic. And there's the shifter for the 4-speed manual, reverse bottom left in this car. So pretty good look. Oh, I should show you the headliner. It's also very good in the black vinyl. So we'll make sure that weather stripping gets re-adhered. And the rear view mirror and the uh, visors also in nice condition. So that's a pretty good look at the interior, I think. Here's how you get this seat up. And there's a good look at the upholstery for the back seat as well. So it matches the seat backs and seat bottom of the passenger seat, the seat back of the driver's seat. But again, this driver's seat bottom is a bit of a different pattern on it, although it is the black matching vinyl. So that'll do it for our interior tour. Let's take a look at that storage compartment. All right, we've got that front cover opened. Should have shown you me opening it, but I'll show you closing it. It's covered by a new piece of carpet that I'll say new. That may be a wrong use of the word new, but unused carpet. But it's been folded for a while. It needs some flattening. You can see that fold in there, but otherwise, it does a nice job of the of covering what's underneath. You can see the data plate here as well. We got a photo of that on the detailed listing. The VIN plate's also still in place here, and so I can tell this carpet is an original. It just has a bit more of a modern feel to it, newer materials. But there's some electrical as well, pretty well kept. And there's the fuses. And as you might guess, that is the fuel tank. You can see that cable coming out of that chrome cap or silver colored cap for the fuel sensor to inform the fuel gauge. But yeah, looks good with the carpet in place, all business with it not in place. Let's see if I can get the carpet back with one hand so that I can show you me closing the latch on the door. Not perfect, but good enough for closing the door or the cover that as I wanted to show you. So I'm just being gentle with it, being it's not my car, but you need to press this button to release the latch, then it closes into place. And then so long as I'm here, I'll show you opening it. So unopenable without the button, press her down, no problem at all. So let's move on to some closing thoughts. So there's a good look at our 1969 Volkswagen Beetle 4-speed manual. Again, it's lot 317 on collectorcarcanada.ca. Have a look at our detailed listing now, or there rather. We get into more detail about some of the things I've mentioned here on the video. I didn't mention this, but take a look at our Collector Car Stories podcast as well. We run one of those about every 2 or 3 weeks. We have more material than we have time to bring you, frankly, but we have a couple in the queue ready to go. But we have a lot of fun with those. They're usually about an enthusiast, a car story, maybe a show, a group of cars, or a collection of cars, things like that. But as I say, we have lots of fun with them. If you think you might have a good story for us, we want to keep shooting them through the down season. So hit us up at admin@collectorcarcanada.ca if you have an idea or a subject for a Collector Car Stories podcast. For now, we call this is going to be a part of a car reviews podcast, where each week we put all the cars reviewed into one episode. And then, of course, we call them individual car reviews. We call them snippets, and each snippet appears on the detailed listing for the car at hand. So again, 1969 Volkswagen Beetle 4-speed manual, lot 317 on collectorcarcanada.ca. 1500cc engine, flat 4, carbureted, and manual transmission, as I was saying, which gets the power to the rear wheels, subject to an exhaustive restoration in circa 2015 to 2020. Very few miles since it was finished in 2020, always stored in heated indoors. Since My take on this car is the exterior is excellent. The interior is very good. There are a couple of pieces like that carpet we saw in the um, storage compartment up here. It just needs to be flattened out. It'll look so much better. A couple of pieces of carpet in the rear compartment just need to be re-glued. So I think the price will reflect that. As I said, this was the first car we ever auctioned. I don't know if people would remember the reserve price at that time. The market was maybe a little better in 2020 than it is now. Oh, pardon me, I just misspoke. We started in 2021. Certainly, this business was in my mind in 2020, but our first auction began in spring of 21. But as I say, the market was probably better at that time. And I don't give out reserve information, but I'll throw you a little bone here and say that the reserve is more realistic this time because we're hoping to sell it. So that'll about do it. Lot 317, 1969 Volkswagen Beetle 4-speed manual. I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car. Bye for now.